Welcome to the Biotech Executive Brief, your quick recap of the biggest developments across artificial intelligence, pharma and life sciences, and the broader business landscape. Today's brief covers Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. Let's start with AI. One of the biggest stories comes from Nvidia, which is reportedly developing a new family of OpenAI models called Nemotron 4. The largest model is expected to contain at least 1 trillion parameters, putting it among the largest AI systems being developed today. The development is another indication that Nvidia's ambitions extend well beyond supplying the chips powering artificial intelligence. The company is increasingly building models, software, and other components across the AI technology stack. AI investment also continues at an extraordinary pace. River AI, founded by xAI co-founder Igor Babushkin, raised $1.1 billion to expand tools that allow companies to build customized AI models using their own data. The financing was led by General Catalyst and AMPPBC, with Nvidia, AMD Ventures, Y Combinator, and Temasek also participating. Google also reached an important adoption milestone with its Gemini application surpassing 1 billion users. Meanwhile, Anthropic is introducing watermarking for content generated by newer versions of its AI models. The company plans to use machine-readable provenance for generated files as AI companies respond to increasing regulatory requirements around identifying AI-generated content. There was also a notable leadership change at OpenAI. Longtime Chief Operating Officer Brad Lightcap is leaving the company to pursue a new venture. OpenAI separately expanded ChatGPT's desktop footprint with a dedicated Linux application, while Anthropic drew attention for an unreleased model that reportedly made progress on work related to the Riemann hypothesis. Another important theme is the physical infrastructure required to support all of this AI growth. U.S. electricity demand is expected to reach record highs in both 2026 and 2027, with expanding AI infrastructure and data centers contributing to higher power consumption. As companies invest billions of dollars in computing capacity, electricity generation, and grid availability are becoming increasingly important parts of the AI infrastructure conversation. Taken together, today's developments span nearly every layer of the AI market: frontier models, infrastructure, enterprise tools, consumer adoption, talent, and regulation. BridgeBio's Attruby continues to build commercial momentum. The ATTR treatment generated $222 million in second quarter U.S. sales, exceeding expectations, and analysts now see the drug potentially surpassing $1 billion in annual global sales this year. Another important industry story involves WuXi AppTec. The company received temporary relief from a federal judge while it challenges its designation by the U.S. Department of Defense as a Chinese military company. The dispute is particularly important for the pharmaceutical industry because WuXi remains a significant participant in the global drug development and manufacturing ecosystem. On the R&D side, Amgen is expanding its footprint in India. The company plans to establish a new science and innovation center in Hyderabad's Genome Valley, with an expected opening in 2027. The center will support areas including discovery chemistry, drug metabolism, pharmacokinetics, and precision medicine. Biotech financing was also active. Vaderis Therapeutics raised $152 million to support late-stage development of engacertib for hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia, a rare genetic vascular disorder with no currently approved treatment. CRISPR Biotechnologies raised another $90 million in Series C financing to advance its epigenetic medicine pipeline, including its program for facioscapulohumeral muscular dystrophy. And Infinimmune raised $75 million in Series A financing with backing that includes Regeneron's venture arm as it advances its antibody discovery platform. There was also deal activity in rare disease. Sentinel Therapeutics entered an agreement potentially worth $475 million involving Mereo Biopharma's Phase 3-ready rare respiratory disease program. Not all of the biotech news involved expansion. Aura Biosciences announced that it is reducing its workforce by 20% and restructuring its leadership team as the company narrows its research and development focus around ocular oncology. Finally, Skylark Bio emerged from stealth and announced that it has dosed its first patient in a gene therapy study targeting hearing loss caused by a GJB2 mutation. Deal activity was a major theme. Canadian real estate company H&R REIT agreed to a roughly 4.8 billion Canadian dollar breakup transaction involving Go Residential and a Blackstone-led consortium. In the automotive sector, Samsung SDI is taking full control of its Indiana battery venture with General Motors. Samsung plans to acquire GM's 49.99% stake, with weaker than expected electric vehicle demand influencing the decision. The transaction is another example of automakers and battery manufacturers recalibrating investment plans as the pace of EV adoption evolves. Elsewhere, South Korea's Lita Group agreed to sell a controlling stake in its car rental business to private equity firm TPG for approximately $925 million. Exor, the investment company controlled by Italy's Agnelli family, also received greater flexibility to increase its ownership of healthcare technology company Philips, with its permitted stake rising to as much as 22%. Consumer spending remains another important theme. Smithfield Foods lowered its full-year outlook as consumers pulled back on spending, while sportswear company On reported weaker than expected quarterly sales and slower growth in the Americas. In financial services, JP Morgan plans to maintain its hiring pace in Asia after its regional corporate banking business grew by more than 20%, and cybersecurity remains firmly on the executive agenda. Uber Freight said it is investigating a potential cyber incident following claims made by a hacker. That wraps up the biggest developments covered in the brief for Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. Today's stories span a broad range. Nvidia pushing further into frontier AI models. Significant capital continuing to flow into AI and biotech companies. Continued restructuring across life sciences. And companies adjusting investment strategies in response to changing consumer and market conditions. Thanks for listening to the Biotech Executive Brief. For more insights across biotech, artificial intelligence, and digital transformation, visit Sternbridge Technology Consulting.